I made really good progress my first 2 or 3 years of working out. I put on probably 30 to 40 pounds of lean mass on my frame. My biceps looked pretty good. I had some core definition, a bicep vein. Kind of like those things that you strive for when you first get into the gym. Like those beginner achievements. You know how you level up in a video game? Like that's like beginner, like, oh, first bicep vein. Oh, first, I can see my abs, right? But that's expected. That's expected. If you're going to show up, like, no matter the workout, no matter how horrible your form might be, no matter how bad you mess up working out, no matter how awful your diet is, if you eat some protein and you just keep showing up, you're going to achieve an above average physique after a few years of working out because the average person simply can't commit to that. Okay, so that's bare minimum. That's expected that I made some progress. But I got to a point where for a year and a half, my physique barely changed. I pretty much looked the same. Still showing up 5, 6 days a week. Still really putting in the work. But I didn't see progress. I did not see change. And what I realized is that I was just taking a completely wrong approach with my training the whole time. Like I talked about, you can do the bare minimum and still make progress. But you're going to get to a plateau and you're going to get to a point where you have to take things to the next level. And after doing research, after watching thousands of YouTube videos, analyzing how the best of the best train to stimulate hypertrophy, to stimulate muscle growth, after reading hundreds of articles, after studying exercise science in college, taking personal training classes, all these things, I've realized the methods that I need to be implying to grow to that next level. And since then, I've probably put on another 20 pounds of lean mass on my physique. Now, in this video, I will be giving you guys the exact mindset, the exact approach that I want you to take with your training to kind of skip over and just leap over that stage of what am I doing wrong? Why am I not making as much progress as I want to be? And in all honesty, if I never hit that stage, who knows how good my physique could have been if I just wasn't stagnant for that year and a half, right? That's exactly what I'm going to give you guys in this video. The first question that I want you to ask yourself is, what is the purpose of my training? I ask guys this question quite a lot in the gym, right? So, like, what are you trying to achieve? What's your goal? And, there's so many answers to that. I'm trying to get bigger. I want to get lean. I want to achieve abs. I'm trying to lose weight. I want to be fitter, healthier. Okay, those are all great things. But you kind of have to pick one and stick with it. You know what I mean? If you're a bigger guy and you genuinely do need to lose weight, you can still build immense amounts of muscle while losing weight. But if you're a skinny guy and you're trying to increase your mass, it might be a bit different. If you want to be super strong, if you're like obsessed with powerlifting, maybe that's going to be a priority. Maybe you enjoy bench pressing, you enjoy squatting, so that's going to be a priority in your program. You have to find out, like, what are like these big things that I really want to accomplish. And then you want to take your training and focus it towards that. That's not to say you can't have, a little bit of strength training here and a little bit of that and a mix of things. But there has to be a focus that's a little bit deeper than just, I go to the gym. You know what I mean? During that time period of a year and a half of just me being plateaued, if you ask me that question, I would tell you that I'm here to get bigger. Like, I want to increase my muscle mass. But if you go back and analyze my training, that's not what I was doing. I was strength training in a sense, but also doing that wrong. I would just, like, say on bench press, I would load up like 95% of my 1 rep max, which you shouldn't be doing on a weekly, like, whatever, and fail it, be disappointed, then put the weights back on the rack, walk away, move on to the next thing. There was no focus. I was just going through the motions, hoping that the result would be there, hoping that I was getting stronger. And then I'd get a mediocre pump and go take pictures and be like, maybe I did make progress. Like, no, I'm sorry, but you didn't, man. Focus. What is your intention? What is your true goal behind showing up to the gym? Now, mind-muscle connection, no matter what stage you are at, is something you truly want to focus on and develop. Now, I don't need you to be an absolute autist about this, okay? There's guys I see in the gym that just like, no weight. They don't care about the weight. And they'll just, oh yeah, I feel that. Hold on. With like 15 pounds. Okay. Sure. But to a certain extent, okay? We have to draw a line somewhere. But mind-muscle connection is going to be huge, especially as you're in those beginning stages. You want to be able to isolate the muscle group that you're genuinely trying to target, okay? If you're hitting a push focus upper body day, say you're doing a chest exercise, your form should be completely aligned to target your chest, to take that through a full range of motion, to get a super deep stretch with that muscle, right? Slow eccentric on some of the reps so you're really feeling that burn in your chest. Stretching all the way back with your elbows not out here flared, because that's going to lead to shoulder injury, as well as engage your front delt more than your chest. Big stretch and then explode, right? You want to have focus with your reps. You want to be one with the weight. You want to be feeling exactly what you're doing, opposed to just going through the motions. And that's where you can kind of throw weight down the drain for a little bit. Once you click off this video, once you go into your next training session, weight should not be a priority, okay? I repped 80-pound dumbbells for incline press. I want to say 3 years ago. I picked them up for the first time and I did incline press with 80-pound dumbbells. That is the most weight I've ever done to this day. I just hit them recently for a 3x8. Because my form it's that deep. My range of motion wasn't there. I was just cranking the weight up and down, just just gym bro mentality. But now I isolate the muscle, feel my chest fibers ripping as I stretch down, explode on the way up, right? I maximize how much I'm actually getting out of the training. And as I apply that proper training technique, I'm able to stimulate that much more growth with the same weight that I did 3 years ago. Except I shouldn't have been even touching close to that 3 years ago. Keep in mind that the eccentric, the lowering portion of your exercises, is where you're going to achieve the most growth. So it's funny when I bring this up because I think ego lifting, if you guys are familiar with that, it's basically where like you throw form down the drain and you just swing weight around, right, with any exercise. It only works, in my opinion, the best with back exercises. Now, why do you think that might be? Because you're working it in the stretched position when you're doing a back movement. So you're doing a chest supported row, and you're ego lifting from here, and you're going, right? Horrible form, horrible range of motion. You're not really getting much. But you're still, like, really working that stretched position, and if you're even semi-controlling it, like, all the way out, and then yanking it back in, you're still probably getting some really good stimulus from that because you're controlling the eccentric in your stretched portion of the exercise. So what if we applied that to every other muscle group, right? With the bicep curl, you're doing like a preacher curl, right? You curl all the way up, just stretch that bad boy down. Just feel your muscle fibers ripping as you get all the way down, safely, obviously. Don't snap your elbow. But feel that stretch, feel that burn, and then do it again, right? It's that repetition of those proper reps. The eccentric, not swinging the weight, slow, it doesn't have to be that slow, 1 to 2 second eccentric, controlling it back down is where you're going to be able to stimulate the most growth with your training. Another example, just one more example, with tricep pushdowns, right? Your tricep pushdowning, so many people, they get their last rep and they just, all right, rack, we're done, we did it. No, that's not the case. What if I just do this? Hold on. When you get that last lockout rep, control it all the way back up to the deepest stretch, then you can rack the weight. Even maybe crank out a few partials. You can't get it all the way down, just right here in the stretch position. Right? Then you rack the weight and you're done with the exercise. I promise you, it's these tiny little things that will take your training and your physique to the next level. Now, I know there's going to be people in the comment section or some guy watching this thinking, you're completely wrong, man. Weight is everything. Weight is how you grow. And that's correct to a certain extent. But I'm telling you right now, as you're implying these training techniques into your workout routine, weight should not be a major part of the question. You should not go back to the gym and pick up the same heavy set of dumbbells that you used to do if you're going to apply these training techniques, okay? It takes a level of humbling yourself and saying, let me feel this out at a lower weight first, and then I'll be able to increase that. When I first got back into deadlifting recently, I did 225 pounds for sets of 8. I could bench that, to keep in mind. I can bench press that. But my form wasn't there. I didn't have that mind-muscle connection. I didn't feel confident in the exercise, right? My hinge could be a little bit off. I'm just not feeling that mind-muscle connection there. Like, it doesn't feel like a good hinging movement. So I took my time. I was like, let me perfect my form. Let me take it a bit slower. Even if I'm only deadlifting 225 pounds. I'm now tripling upwards of 400 pounds half a year later. And now I can have that ego, right? Some people could be like, dang, he's strong. Like, yeah, but it wasn't always like that. Just 6 months ago, I was at 225. But because I was able to humble myself, I've been able to work up towards those heavier weights with proper form, with proper technique, and see immense growth in my physique from doing so. So keep in mind that there are multiple ways to progressive overload. It's not just increasing the weight. You need to increase the weight slowly but surely with the same technique. That's the biggest point I'm making here. If you're going from the 50-pound dumbbells to the 55-pound dumbbells, I don't want to see you hit the same amount of reps, because if you hit the same amount of reps the next week, chances are you neglected something. You got a bit more front delt engaged in there. You thrusted the weight up a little bit, right? Maybe didn't control it as well on the way down. Didn't achieve that deep stretch in your chest that you want to be aiming for. Something's off. So my point is, pay attention to these things. Keep these things in your mind. Track your exercises. Track how much weight you're doing. And especially with your compound movements. This is a whole nother area, the last one I'm going to be talking about. Compound movements. What do I mean by that? It's going to be your quote-unquote main movement for each muscle group that you do, okay? So I'm talking back, chest, shoulders, quads, hamstrings, glutes. I mean, you could really pick a compound for any muscle group, right? So for back, say my compound, or like my biggest lift of the day, is going to be a bent over row, a barbell bent over row. That's exactly where I want to be tracking. If I did 135 for a set of 12 reps, for 3 sets of 12 reps last week, sure, I can do 145. But I'm not going to neglect my form in any way. I'm going to maintain that mind-muscle connection. And I'm going to track that I did 145 instead of 135 while maintaining the same tempo, the same form, the same technique with my exercises. And then slowly, I'm going to add reps. So say I did 135 for 12 is my PR. And then I do 145 for 8. Then the next week I do 9. Then 10. Then I finally get back up to 12, and then I'm like, okay, I could go a bit heavier. Then I go to 155. Progressively overloading with the same technique is what's going to lead to growth. You cannot show up, go through the motions, swing some weight around, and expect to see a good result from your training. Train with a purpose, train with intensity, train like you're actually trying to get the most stimulus from your training. Learn how to humble yourself. Learn how to pick up a lighter weight and feel out a movement. Try to achieve as much as possible from your technique, from your form, from how much you're feeling that mind-muscle connection as you're just ripping those muscle fibers apart. And if you continue to progressive overload in that manner with your compound movements, you will see that much more growth than you showing up and just going through the motions. My apologies, guys. I ran out of storage. With all those other factors in place, Looking at our easy framework: exercise, accountability, smart nutritioning, and following your journey. This will take your fitness to the next level, right? You're going to transition from just being the average Chad that shows up and goes through the motions to actually mastering how well you can stimulate muscle growth, how much you know about your body, about how to get yourself sore, how to get a good pump, how to get a good blood flow, all these things that feel amazing in the gym. Accountability, holding yourself accountable and actually following through with all workouts that you design for yourself, that you plan for yourself, or whether you're working with me, you adhere to the plan and you actually show up on a daily basis towards your goals. Smart nutritioning. If you have your diet aligned with your goals, whether you're trying to shred down and achieve a six-pack, or you want to get bigger and put muscle on your frame and gain some weight, whatever your goals are, if everything's aligned to the why, to your journey, to the purpose of you showing up, and you're following through with these things consistently on a daily, weekly, monthly, to one extent yearly basis, your success is undeniable. Focus on the inputs and never on the outputs. With that being said, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys gained immense value from this video. If I could just go back to my younger self and tell him exactly what I said in this video, I genuinely think that I would be that much further along, that I would have that much better of a physique, that I would be making that much more progress earlier in my fitness journey instead of showing up, going through the motions, and walking away with mediocre results. Why not maximize? If you're going to be putting in work, why not maximize how much you're actually putting in with the time, with the work, with the repetitions, with every training set. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Coaching link is in my bio if you want to apply and see if you're a good fit for the program. Other than that, I will see you guys here in the next one.